if I never lost any weight. I couldn't fathom being 400 pounds for a fucking decade. I don't know. I would have killed myself, genuinely. It's just how depressive it is.
Get inspired. Transform your life. Welcome to Best Interest Radio.
All right, listen up. If you're into self-development, or if you have a growth mindset, or you're an entrepreneur, or you're creative, or all of the above, and you're ready to upgrade your life, whether you want to get healthier, break bad habits, increase your income, start or scale your business, lose weight, build muscle, improve relationships, you get the point, just achieve self-actualization, then my group coaching community in the best interest games just might be for you. The clients I've worked with have done everything from lose weight, quit smoking, increase their income, start a new business, and really just transform their life in every aspect. There's leaderboards to help motivate you and prizes every week. So if this sounds like it's for you, check out the link in the description and join now before the price goes up. There's nothing like this out there, so take advantage of it while you can. Today on the podcast, we have Coach Adam Gould, otherwise known as Puffy. So welcome to the podcast, Adam. And I want to ask you, your Instagram is PuffyGotBuffy. Who was Puffy? And how did you get Buffy?
Yeah. So, a lot of people ask me this question, like how the moniker came about. So, I'll get into like the more depths of it, but I lost 150 pounds. And when I lost my first 100 pounds, it was around the same time of my birthday, which is in November. And then my coach at the time, he got me a shirt that said Puffy got Buffy on it. And then I changed my Instagram handle, which was just like my name with a number, to Puffy got Buffy, and then I ended up trademarking that. So I have a trademark. It's like the millionth 200th trademark in Canada for that. Cost me $1,000, but that's pretty cool. But then why I was called Puffy was I used to hate it, and I'm sure a lot of people that are overweight can relate to it. Like when people like call you fat, kind of like really pissed me off. So anybody that like knew me personally would not say like they wouldn't call me fat. They would like skate around it. But my dad got really mad at me one day. He was like, it was one of those moods where he's just like being a disappointed father. It's like, how did my kid become this fat? And you're just like, why do you have to be so puffy? And I thought it was funny at the time. I was in culinary school, so I was like, I like that. And then I was gonna open up Puffy's Bakery, but that's just fucking expensive. So well, yeah, and then I guess everybody called me Puffy for the most part for like onwards from there, because there's a lot of Adams. It's not that unique of a name. And then yeah, my coach got me a shirt that said Puffy got Buffy. And then when I lost the first 100 pounds and then I got the shirt that said Puffy got Buffy, I decided to go to culinary school, mainly because that was like the only thing that I was interested in doing, and like that I could actually turn some type of skill into income, because other than that, I played video games 12 hours a day, but I wasn't good, and I didn't care enough to code. Or maybe if I could rewind the clock, I probably would have gone into like video editing, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I went to culinary school, specialized in pastry. If anybody's watching this and like wants some really really good protein dessert recipes that don't suck ass, let me know. I normally charge for the cookbook, but I really don't care. I charge for cookbook just so like people actually buy it and use it, but like I don't really care if I give it to you for free. Anyways, what was the point with this? So I went to culinary school, and then I got a bunch of odd jobs in the fitness industry. Like I worked at like a F45 and 9 round, and what's it called? And then I worked at Good Life for like a year and a half. And then fuck that company. If anybody is watching this, please, for the love of God, don't cancel your gym membership. Just cancel your personal trainers there, because they get dicked around. Or just ask your personal trainers if they want to. You pay them on the side, like just give them cash or some shit, like, because like the split is ridiculous. It's a 70-30 cut. It's just nonsense. Someone's paying $100 an hour for a very experienced, like if someone has kinesiology, they have a kinesiology degree. If someone's paying $100 an hour to train with that fucker, and that fucker is pocketing $40, ridiculous. After taxes, after the Good Life takes its cut. But anyways, so worked at Good Life, and then COVID happened. And thanks to the only thing Trudeau did good for this country was give me CERB money and also made weed legal. Those are only two good things. So with my sweet CERB money, I bought gym equipment. did what any logical 23-year-old who likes fitness and was depressed as fuck because the gyms weren't open because Trudeau's a fucking idiot. I bought gym equipment, and then I bought enough gym equipment to where I convinced people to come start training at my house. And then I stopped really working at Good Life. And Good Life actually fired me because I wasn't wearing my mask properly. So there's that. But it's okay because at that point I was like almost 2 feet out the door anyways. I was like fucking 1 month away from quitting. So then fast forward like 6 months, that was going well. And then I had a bunch of clients that were like not getting results because they were lazy and they weren't following their nutrition plan. So I was like, fuck it. I do meal prep for myself every Sunday. I'll start doing it for you as well. Just like pay me. And then so then I started a meal prep company coincidentally, and it kind of blew up unintentionally. Because I put it out on Marketplace, and like it got a lot of engagement, and like I started getting like a shit ton of inquiries. And then I built it out of the house. Like at one point I had 3 fridges in my house. Actually, no, 6 fridges in my house. I had 6 fridges. And I was doing like I was meal prepping for like 80 people, like 700, 800 meals. I was pulling like back to back, like 20-hour shifts. Oh, I was crazy. Good times, good times. But and then I moved out of the house into a different into offsite, like put like legitimately, like I got a business and website and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And then then fast forward, the order stopped coming in when I launched a website. I still to this day don't understand why. People were like sending me it through DMs or like e-transferring me. It wasn't like I wasn't charging tax either. And then when I made a website to make it the ordering process easier, and people stopped ordering. Like it literally cut in half. And then I partnered with this dickhead, and this dickhead will remain nameless because he's a dickhead, and the dickhead is a dickhead. Because he told me a bunch of shit that was not true, where like he's like, okay, this is how many orders I get and whatever. And I was thinking, okay, he gets this many orders, I have this many orders, combined, we make money. But that's not what ended up happening. It was a colossal failure, and I lost so much money. And then I ended up having to sue him because he's a dickhead. And I mean, I didn't. When I say I won the lawsuit, I didn't win. We went to settlement. We settled before it went to a judge. So like, if anybody knows anybody that sued someone and they settled, settling just means like we settled. That doesn't mean you get what you wanted. It just means like you don't have to go through another year or 2 or 3 of bullshit, and more legal fees, and then potentially like the judge throwing it out.
That's awesome, man. I find it kind of funny because like growing up, my nickname was Puff. No, I wasn't Puffy. And I actually got that nickname. People think one of two things, because I was fat or because I smoked weed. I didn't even smoke weed when I got the nickname. I didn't start smoking weed until years later. But it was because I played football and I had asthma at the time. So I would like take my puffer after each drill and after each lap. And one time I took my puffer and I went and did a drill and just like smoked this kid. And my coach was like, "You're all puffed up now, hey Puff." And everybody thought it was the funniest thing ever, so they called me Puff ever since. Anybody I went to high school with calls me Puff. So, did you play football?
No, man, I was too fat when I was a kid. I think I could have definitely. I mean, it's not, I can't really regret it, but like, if I lost the weight a lot sooner, I definitely think I could have done something athletically. Would I have been a fucking pro athlete? Probably not, but I'm really strong. Like I could deadlift 3.5 times my body weight, which is like almost like upper echelon, like Olympic levels, like 4 times body weight. So, I don't know. I never play, I'm like one of those Canadians. I never learned how to skate, so that I should get my citizenship revoked. But I like hockey. I love football. I think I would have done good at like linebacker or defensive tackle, but I'm also not that big, so I don't know. But I love football. I would have loved to play football. I played baseball when I was really fat, and I always led the league in most amount of hits by pitches because my fat ass would just hang over the plate, and I would never swing the bat. My on base percentage is probably like 600.
That's awesome. Man, let's go over nicknames. What other nicknames were you called growing up? I'll tell you mine. I was called Tits McGee. That was probably one of the highlights, Tits McGee.
Pretty degrading.
And probably anything else.
For the most part, my only other nickname was like just my last name. Because there's like growing up, there was a lot of Adams. And then some people called me Goldilocks. Because of like a moniker, or it's like a play on my last name. I think that's it. Because other than that, like if it was anything degrading, I would just punch them in the face. Like,
Yeah, really?
yeah, dude, I wasn't like, I never got like arrested, but I wasn't like the greatest kid in the world when I was younger. But it was also like, I mean, you, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but it's just like not logical to go up to a fat person and say, "Hey, you're fat." You know, like
Yeah, no.
what, you know. And it's for me, like I had zero, uh, I have like zero impulse, or I impulse too quickly. Like I make decisions too quick, and I just would punch them in the face.
Yeah, I know, man. Kids are dicks. They used to like call me all sorts of names and make fun of me and stuff. And like, I don't know if like some people didn't mean any harm by it, some did and stuff like that. And then I don't know about you, but like there comes this point where like you start to make fun of yourself to try to like cope. Like, did you do that? Like make your own fat jokes and stuff like that?
I would typically be I would make myself the brunt of the joke so other people wouldn't do it. Like in grade 8, I was voted most likely to be a comedian. Uh, where I could see that, like, I couldn't really do stand-up comedy because I feel like uh, my lack of impulse and my lack of, or just blurting shit out. Oh, I would say some fucked up shit. Um, but in the context of being like 13 years old and just in general, I was like the class clown, kind of unintentionally. Like, I mean, I have ADHD, so it's like I wouldn't try to necessarily get attention. It was just like I kind of had no choice but to do it. Like I just blurted out funny shit. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, man, I think like that can be toxic as a fat guy. You know, I know myself because it like kind of like almost gives you permission to stay fat and to stay unhealthy. Like a lot of people will just like make fun of themselves and like, oh, like that's just me. Like I'm the big guy, I'm the fat guy. You don't even have to be making jokes, but just kind of like creating an identity around like being fat and stuff can, I don't know, I think it can prevent people from making change. I don't know if you've seen that with any clients you work with at all, or
well, I think it's one of the things that irks the shit out of me nowadays. Like my approach is not necessarily like it's rainbows and sunshines. It's just I'm just sometimes a blunt, harsh dick, but that's just because like I mean I've been in the shoes of a lot of people that I would help or like that want help, and it's like a lot of people are hypocrites. But then like when they're convincing themselves of this narrative, oh, I'm fat, like, or I don't know how many people's Instagram handles is like, uh, Bob fat guy or some shit like that. Like they're just embracing the narrative to like the upper degree. And it's just like I mean, yeah, it's kind of pathetic to me. It's like you're wanting help, or if you had a magic button and you had 3 wishes or some shit like that, and you could click a button and not be fat, every person would choose to do it. But they're just lazy. And then they just convince themselves of this narrative that it's just like, oh, I'm big boned. Oh, my metabolism's slow. Let's just stay fat for the rest of my life. I hate Lizzo. Like if I could like shoot one person on the planet other than Trudeau, it would probably be Lizzo, because it's just like she she's like the epitome of like this whole new illogical wave of body positivity. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with someone being like 40 pounds overweight on a Maxim or like a Sports Illustrated model, but when we're getting to the point of like someone chronically obese and you're telling me, oh, it's okay to be obese, it's okay to be like incredibly unhealthy and love your body, I think that's actually a joke. I think it's pathetic, but it's because people are too lazy to change.
yeah, no, I agree. That can be like a huge excuse. I see that a lot too. I actually know, like, I was talking to somebody who has a quite a large following that, like, you know, she was kind of in that spectrum where she was promoting like this fat positivity, which, yeah, it's great to love yourself and love your body and who you are and stuff. And I think that's important, but not in the sense where, like, you know, if you're ignoring the fact that you have a health problem, you know, it's like, to me, it's similar to like, glorifying some sort of disease that you have within yourself, you know?
Well, it's the same thing as being a drug addict. Like the first step to admitting you have a problem is admitting, or the first step to overcoming a problem is admitting you have a fucking problem. But they don't do it. They're just accepting like, oh, I'm fat, but they don't change. Right. So I think it's like almost like the counter opposite of that. Right. And like again, like if someone's 300 pounds, that's not healthy. But if that same person wants to promote body positivity and being fat is okay, then just get to a healthy fucking weight so you're not at risk of cardiac arrest or dropping dead of a stroke or a heart attack. Like get to like 240. I don't give a shit. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Like my nickname's Puffy. So it's not like my lifestyle is like where I have a shredded six pack. That'd be ridiculous, right? And I don't preach that to anybody. But at the same time, telling people it's okay to love your body is a great concept, but it's not okay to love your body if you're going to fucking drop dead within the next 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. Just making an excuse for yourself. What are some other like big excuses that you see with people you work with, prospects, or even with yourself in the past?
Um, myself is I wish I could replicate myself's mindset to like a lot of people that I talk to, but uh the biggest challenge that I hear from most people is just like being their own worst enemy. Um, where they say they want help, where they say they are gonna die and that they don't want to die because they have kids and they want to live longer for them or their wife, or they're 30 years old and been struggling with weight for like being fat for 15 years, but then they won't actually pull the trigger and take action, and they won't actually pull the trigger and like make a financial commitment, right? I mean, I'm not even just saying from like a sales standpoint, but like I find it laughable when people are like, "Oh, I don't have money to invest into a coach." I was 370 fucking pounds. You want to guess how much money I spent on McDonald's? And this was back in like 2016, a month. How much I spent on, well, I say McDonald's, but fast food as a whole.
$500 a month.
$2,000 a month I was spending on fast food because I was eating it 3 times a day. So that was in 2016. Now, prices have just fucking almost doubled since then. But when someone says they can't afford a coach, is because they don't actually want to take action and get fucking help they need, even if they're saying they want the help, right? But it's because they don't like, they're like convincing themselves this fucking narrative, or like they're not, I don't know, they're being their own worst enemy, right? They're being a hypocrite. They're saying they want help, they're saying they want to change, but they won't actually do it. So for me, I was at my lowest of lows when I was at my biggest. I like standing in the mirror, I couldn't see my own fucking dick. So that's like, as a guy, that's like pretty much the lowest you can go. I mean, there's lower. Like I've helped clients that are like over 400. I have one client who's 600 fucking pounds. And that just gets to the certain point of like you're scared to die every day, right? But when you're 370 and like 17 years old and you have no social life, you have no motivation to kind of live, it's kind of fucking depressing. And so it's not like for lack of trying. The decade before that, I went to nutritionists and like different psychologists or a bunch of different shit, but a lot of them didn't really help, or they took things to the extreme. And anyways, like when I actually wanted the help, when all the other times was my parents taking me to these appointments. They're like, "Hey, like we found this guy, like you should go check it out." I didn't actually want to fucking go. I was doing it to appease my parents. The first time that like I actually was motivated and like sparked like to change, I just cut McDonald's from 3 times to 2, and I lost like 20 pounds that month. And then I plateaued, and I told my dad, I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do." I was like losing weight. I was all happy because I was eating McDonald's and losing weight and working out. And by working out, I mean like fucking sitting on a chair and off a chair, whatever. And then my dad went on Google and typed in-home personal trainer, because I used to make the joke I was too fat to fit in the door at the gym. I was terrified going to the gym. And I fast forward, like I worked at a gym. Like if you see a fucking fat person at the gym and you're going to stare at them, go fuck yourself, because they're there to make their body better one way or the other. They might look like an idiot. They might not know what to do, but either help them or fuck off. Like go up to them and just kindly be like, "Hey, can I fix your form?" Or like, "What you're doing is stupid." I don't know. Or just don't say anything. But like staring at someone, it's gonna make them really uncomfortable. But anyways, that's besides the point. So I believe everything in life happens for a reason. My dad, without me knowing, typed in home personal trainer, and the guy that ended up showing up, I love the guy to death. He's like one of the only 2 people I take a bullet for. My dad and him. He became like my best friend, and well, needless to say, we got along great, and he helped me lose a fuck ton of weight. And he trained me so well to where I became interested in becoming a trainer myself. Yeah, I don't know how we got on this topic, but
I was just talking about basically kind of what excuses you started to make, and you started going into your journey, which is what I was going to ask you anyway. But
yeah.
that's awesome, man. So, like, how long, just to get some clarity, how long did you try to make a change before you actually started to make those changes?
See, that's the thing. Like, that's another thing that a lot of people will convince themselves of. Like, "Oh, I tried this. I tried that. I went on keto. I went on Weight Watchers. I went on Noom. I did Ozempic." Did any of them do any of this for longer than like 2 weeks? Probably not. Now, when it comes to like keto, I've had clients that I had a client, she lost 100 pounds on keto, and then she stopped keto and she gained 120 back. That's a story for another day.
Yeah.
Completely restrictive diets don't work, won't
Yeah.
work. Ozempic don't work, won't work. When you stop it, you're gonna gain weight back. No fucking shit. But what was the question? The question was,
Yeah.
uh,
How long did it take for you to before you started making a
yeah.
change?
So the reason why I brought that up was because it's like I tried a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it's like I tried Weight Watchers for like not even consistently, but I did it for 6 weeks. But like I wasn't like adhering to it 100%. I lost a couple pounds and then got demotivated. Um, but yeah, off and on, like I never tried anything consistently for like longer than 2 weeks. Until I started working with my coach. So it was like when every person's fat, like they all in the back of their mind want to not be fat. They all want to lose weight, but then it's like they don't know what to do, how to start, or they don't take action. Right. So I feel like if I knew what I knew now, I mean, I might have still been a chubby kid, but like the easiest thing is like I used to play video games like 16 hours or 12 hours a day. Like it was religion. So I would have just literally bought a fucking treadmill like I'm doing now and played video games while going on the treadmill, right?
Actually, not a bad idea. Do you know anybody who does that?
Well, me, but I don't really play video games anymore. I'm retired because I don't feel like it really benefits me in any way. But uh, yeah, I mean, if anybody under the age, or and not even any under a certain age, if anybody has a kid or if anybody plays video games and they're overweight, buy a fucking treadmill and play video games while moving. It's not that hard. You don't have to
Yeah,
go. I'm talking to you. I'm not out of breath. Like I'm barely moving. I'm just moving more than if I was sitting on my ass.
yeah, exactly. Stagnancy is like one of the biggest problems that this world faces. I was a massage therapist for 10 years, and most of people's problems are from just not moving.
Yeah, like sciatica. How do you get sciatica? Oh, you sit on your fucking ass for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. Then it ends up with like weight problems and all that shit that goes along with it. Um, so yeah, man, like obviously like you know, try all this shit and then what changed it for you was hiring a coach, which is like kind of really cool in a way. Because like now you're kind of doing that. You're like a testimony that like a coach can help people go to the next level and like hold them accountable and call them out on their shit and stuff like that, you know? So for you, um, like do you get people who are like kind of in your shoes, like where they, you know, tried Weight Watchers and stuff like that and you kind of
Yeah.
help get them on track and stuff. And so what do you find is it for them that kind of helps them to break that barrier where they actually start doing shit and staying on track and getting results?
Well, the first thing is like if you ask any person who is either over, in my opinion, who's either overweight or like a smoker. My mom is a good example. She was a smoker for 40 years. And one day she was like, fuck it, I'm done smoking. She had like a spark. She had like some type of like ignition in her to be like, fuck it, I'm done. And she just stopped smoking. So the same thing with me. When I actually reached out and wanted help, I didn't then tell the guy, oh, I got to think about it. Oh, let me talk to my spouse. Let me talk to my mouse. Let me talk to my dog. Let me talk. Like, I didn't come up with excuses. I actually took action and fucking got results. Right. But I hear a lot of clients, they all, it's like similar to me where they say they've tried shit, but most of the shit that they've tried, they weren't consistent with it for more than like 2 weeks, right? And then the stuff that they got any results from, like keto or carnivore or Ozempic or OMAD, those are like the top four. The second they stop it, they gain all the weight back or their progress goes to shit because none of it's sustainable.
Yeah, yeah. I also I've seen people too that like obviously that do that, but also like I don't know, they might calorie restrict, but they're eating like 4 Hunger Man meals a day or something like that. And it just like gets fucking old after a while. And it's like how the fuck are you gonna stick to it if you're eating like 4 Hunger Man meals a day? You know what I mean? Do you ever see people like that?
I've talked to a lot of people that are like 300-400 pounds that are eating 2,000 calories a day. And when there's a lot of misinformation on the internet, and fundamentally speaking, You 80% of the people that are 80% of the population that are obese need to simply move more and eat less. But then there are, I would say, 10% of people that have fucked up their metabolism so royally that they're 400 pounds and eating 2,000 calories a day, and they're not losing any weight and wondering why. Because it's like they go from the extremes of obesity to then the restrictions of the restrictions. Because when you dig a fucking hole so deep in the ground, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, that's a huge problem, man. Honestly, generally that's caused by a bunch of different factors like insulin resistance and shit like that. So, you know, especially if you're not moving, like if you're calorie restricting and then working out helps increase your insulin sensitivity and stuff like that. So that's going to help you. But if you're just like cutting calories, not doing anything to help like your insulin sensitivity or getting that shit checked out at all, like you're going to have a hard time losing weight, even if you cut calories and stuff like that. There's other factors too, but that's kind of just like one of the main ones. But yeah, man, geez. So what are you doing these days? Like you're just coaching people and
scraping by.
are you getting buffier?
I mean, right now, currently, like current present day, I'm going to Europe in like 2 months or 3 months, so I'm doing a bit of a cut. I'm doing like the exact opposite of what I tell clients, where I'm like hating my life and I'm not doing any flexible dieting, but it's because it's like I have a goal in mind and it's like I got like 8 or 9 weeks to do it. So it's like if a client says I got a wedding coming up in like 12 weeks, well then shut the fuck up and eat the meal plan, right? There's no, in my opinion, there's no real room for flexible dieting. But I mean, other than that, like yeah, I'm doing coaching, I do in-person training because I have a gym in my house. But I feel like, I don't know, from like a business standpoint or just like a dynamic in general, like from the world that we live in, like a lot of people like they're fluttered or they're thrown at so much information and they don't know what the fuck to do or where to start or how to start. And they don't know who to go with because there's like every single person on the planet that works out thinks they can be a coach with no credentials, with no understanding of what the fuck to do. And yeah, and then you get people that are reaching out for help and like all they're caring about is the costs, right? And it's like, oh, well, this guy's cheaper. And then fuckface, if that guy's cheaper, maybe ask yourself why, because he doesn't have a fucking anything to prove, right? Like, I don't know, I'm getting on a tangent, but like
no, that's real shit, man. That's stuff that people, all of us go towards. Like even if you don't have to lose weight and you're looking for a coach, like why ask yourself why those people are cheaper and stuff. Like I don't know, man. Like if I could go back in my day before I lost weight, if I was gonna hire a coach, I want to hire somebody who lost the weight themselves rather than like
like for me, I have a coach, right? And my coach is like 15-year vet, hypertrophy I can't fucking say the word, hypertrophy specialist, which if people don't know what hypertrophy means, just a fancy way of saying building muscle, right? But he's taught me a lot that I wouldn't have known for like what a giant set is, what reps pause is, what a widowmaker, like all these different training principles. And he helps me critique my form. I feel like two things. One, like if you're coach and your coach doesn't have a coach, that's kind of fucking weird. That's just my opinion, because every top athlete, every top person in the world, they all have coaches. Every single top executive from a business level, they all have coaches. Maybe it's not like a health coach. Most of them hire their own personal trainer, but they have like a mental coach or some type of thing, or business coach, some type of mentor. Unless you're like Tony Robbins, okay? I'm not going to get onto why I don't like him. Fundamentally good person from a business standpoint, absolute cunt. But he doesn't have a coach. That's like the level, because he's like goddamn Jesus for like a billion people on this planet. But other than Tony Robbins, there's a lot of coaches for people, right? So wait, how did I fucking come to this point? Oh yeah, and then is that coach relatable to you, right? So like for me, I was in a lot of my own clients' shoes. So like the reason I'm not all sunshine and rainbows and everything's gonna be okay is because like I genuinely don't give a fuck. Like listen to what I have to say, because I did it what you're trying to do. And if you don't want to listen, then fuck off. And like maybe that's too blunt for some people, but that's just like I'm just not gonna sugarcoat shit, right? Because it's like they're reaching out for help, and then I have had clients that like literally have paid me in full, and I'm like, here you go, follow this, text me whenever you need, whatever you need. They don't do shit. They don't do shit. And it blows my fucking mind. Right. But yeah, if anybody's looking for a coach, there's really only three things you need to make a decision. Do you like them? Do you actually think they can fucking help you? And all of their credentials / experience / testimonials, are they legit? And do they relate to you? Right? If you have all those three things and all of them are checked off, then hire the fucking coach. I mean, the other thing that's obviously a variable would be financials, but like, I also find it laughable, bro. Like, whether it's in-person training or online coaching, but I get this a lot for in-person training. They're like, how much are you? Just fucking Google search how much is a personal trainer per hour. It's literally going to say like $50 to $100 an hour, right? But then I'll have like a Karen tell me like, oh, and I found this guy for like $30 an hour. And again, it goes to my point. Like, if Japreesh is going to charge you $30 an hour, who does not know anything about nutrition and has not helped a single fucking person lose weight, do you think you're going to get results, or do you want to hire Japreesh to yell at you to do a bunch of fucking jumping jacks? Now, I don't want to work with a fucking Karen who wants to pay $30 an hour because she ain't going to listen to shit that I got to say, right? But when it comes to the same thing with finances and online coaching, if any coach, online coach is charging, I mean, there's shitfluencers who have these fucking apps that aren't even made by them, that they had nothing to do with, that just slap their fucking name on it, and they're charging $50, $60, $80, or $100 a month. Nobody's getting results with that shit. And then there's these like numbskulls that picked up a dumbbell and think that they know how to work out, and they're going to charge people because they picked up a dumbbell when they look like a twig or a donut. They charge like $200 a month, right? And then there's everybody else in between, right? So if anybody's charging like, if you're unless you're a very hyper specific coach, where it's like, I know a guy, he charges like $1,000 a month, which is just ludicrous. But he's like, he only works with like top CEO executives. So it's like, credit where credit's due. If you could do it, do it. But if a coach works with like a non super specific niche, and it's like, I don't have a specific niche, but my main niche is like 25 to 45 men who want to lose about 40 to 100 plus pounds, right? If anybody's in that ballpark and they're charging like less than like $200 a month, it's like, what the fuck, right? That doesn't make much sense. And then it's like, everybody else is probably going to be between like 250 to like upwards of like 500. But then it gets to the point of like, if someone's charging more than maybe like, depends on the currency, but like, let's say like more than 500 USD, it's almost laughable, because it's like, I don't feel like it's worth that person's time, unless like they are like the cream of the crop where they have like a waiting list application for clients. Then it's a bit of a different story, because supply and demand, right? Because I know a coach, not personally, but I know a coach, he's got a big ass following, and he literally has a wait list for people to work with him, like one-on-one coaching. And he charges like, I think it's like $3 or $5 grand for like 4 months. But yeah, that's my TED talk. I don't
know. Yeah, man. Like, it goes down. Like, the whole theme is just like, stop fucking making bullshit ass excuses for yourself. Whether it's like, oh, I gotta talk to my wife, gotta talk to my dog, I don't have enough money. We both have people and even yourself, spend money on fucking fast food. You stop eating fucking takeout, stop buying fucking coffees, especially with filling it with sugar and shit. Just like getting all this extra bullshit that you don't need into
my
your
favorite
body.
is now with the amount of gambling. People are just gambling now.
Oh, is that right? A thing? That like
dude,
a thing
that's huge. Yeah. That's huge. I mean, dude, like now that they legalized it pretty much everywhere in the US and Canada and ram it down your throats, like it's every second ad on every television station is a gambling site. So
gambling app.
Yeah, gambling app, gambling site, whatever you want to call it, right? So you can do the slots digitally, or you could bet on the sport, right? It's illogical. So you're eating your shit, you're eating unhealthy, and then you're blowing whatever money you have left on gambling because you're trying to like, it's the same fucked up logic when you're doing keto. Oh, let me get this quick fixed result, right? And then you're trying to do the same thing when it comes to like gambling. Oh, let me double my money.
Yeah, man, funny story about that. My ex-girlfriend, I don't know, I would just like walk by her and I would just see her like on these gambling apps, like on his slots. I'm like, are you doing slots? She's like, yeah, like I put like $10 in every now and then, and I just like do low bets, and I just do this every once in a while. And I'm like, do you have like? I just had this. We weren't dating for that long. I was like, do you have like a gambling problem? And she's like, no, I just do that every once in a while. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then like, I would like keep walking by and like, don't go through her fucking phone. I would just literally see her on this fucking gambling apps, and I'm like, you're literally gambling like every spare second you have, just like scrolling these slot machines. I'm like, what is
The
up
issue
with
is
that?
people don't have self-control. It's the same thing when it's like I tell clients to get rid of their food in their house, right? If you have fast food or not fast food, but like if you have chips and chocolate and candy in your house, if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So like obviously don't leave it on your counter because if you see it, you're gonna eat it. But if you don't have the fucking self-control to where if it's in your house, you're gonna eat it, then fucking get rid of it. It's the same thing with gambling. Like I have the ability to where if I wanted to gamble $20 on the Leafs to lose because they suck ass, but well, they don't suck ass, but like, okay, if I want to blow $20 on the Leafs to win the cup because they're never going to, um, then I can do that and then not spend like another $100 or $200 and chase and chase and chase and chase and chase and chase. But you know, it's the same thing with fast food or sugary products or chips or whatever. The chemicals and the shit that's in it literally trigger serotonin and like certain chemicals in your brain to be like, oh, this is fucking great. Let's do it again and do it again and eat more and eat more. And it's the same thing with gambling. When you win, they have all these sounds and all these like things in your face. And it's like, good job, right? Like you're a 6-year-old getting a gold star at kindergarten. Good job. You won. Now give us more of your money because then you're going to lose it, right?
Yeah, that's what happened to the man. The modern food industry doesn't make it easy when they literally like food scientists will design food to make us hooked even more than what gambling would. And I personally, I don't know about you, man. Like I can't buy if I buy fucking chips, I'm eating the whole bag. So when I buy chips, I know like I'm eating this whole bag.
Well,
Like
what I do if I make like, see, like what I tend to do is I agree completely. Like if I'm buying chips, unless it's from Costco, because Costco makes like a giant ass bag. Like sometimes I don't
yeah.
finish. But like, okay, like regular ass, like convenience store, like non-family size, yeah, definitely. I'm eating the whole fucking bag. But then if I want chips and I'm craving it, what I'll do is instead of having chips in the house, I'll have a healthier alternative. So when if I'm really craving chips, I'll just have it ready to go. So like two good, really good options would be there's a company called Wild. It's spelled stupid. It's like WILDE. It's made with chicken broth and egg whites. And it tastes like a fucking chip. It tastes like a potato chip, but it's not. And it's like the whole bag is 20 grams of protein and like 300 calories. Um, and
Oh,
then
nice.
there's another company I really like called Lesser Evil. And they make like non-shitty Skinny Pop. Like Skinny Pop is a terrible company, but it's like a better version of Skinny Pop. And they have like different flavors. They got like cheese, they have like fake butter. And anyways, you can eat like half their bag is like this big, and you can eat like half of it, and it's like 200 calories.
Yeah, man,
So
that Evil makes some pretty good stuff. I
yeah.
made some of that stuff too. Yeah, it's important to have alternatives and stuff like that to like, replace these foods and cravings and all that jazz. Man, just while I remember something funny about the gambling thing. So one of my buddies in Florida, I game online sometimes, and so one of my gaming buddies, um, he's doing this thing that's like legal, but it's like it's kind of like taking advantage of these gambling apps where he'll like, I guess. So if
Sign
you
up for like
write,
a bonus.
yeah, if you send them a postcard, like in a handwritten postcard, they'll send you like a $5 gift card to their use on their
How
website.
many how many has he done?
And there's no limit to how many
So
you
how
can
many has he
send.
done?
He's up to 4 grand now in revenue and he's splitting that with somebody. So they've made
Oh,
like 8 grand.
that reminds me, I have a buddy who did the same thing with FanDuel. They stopped it, but like basically when you referred someone on FanDuel, that person would get a certain amount in their account, and the person that refers you would get it as well. And then I forget exactly how we did it, but he would tell you to bet. Oh, okay. So you basically it was a way to get an easy free $100. They would give you like when you signed up, he would get $100, and the person would get $200. So I think it was like you would bet the over under on whatever. It didn't matter because over under is always even. And then whatever it is, you would be able to take out the $100. And so he did that enough times. I think he made like 10 grand. He ended up paying like front row seats to the Miami Dolphins game. And that's not cheap, but he's a huge Dolphins fan from Toronto.
Yeah. That's wild. Yeah, it's like this legal, like, I don't know, loophole. I'm like, I guess they can stop it when they want to, but it's kind of funny. He's even got like a handwriting machine and stuff, like it's
Dude, that's
crazy,
crazy.
man. They
That's
went to
actually,
like they went to the next level. They like it's this handwriting machine. Like I'm like on Discord with him, and he's like writing out. Like you have to do like each letter in like 10 or 20 different ways, and then this automatic handwriting machine, which was probably invented for illegal things, like it like programs it, and then it will write these handwritten notes to send to the person, just so he didn't have to handwrite them himself, and so that it wasn't like copied and pasted. I don't know. It's pretty wild. Sidetrack there, but I don't know, man. Gambling with money, if you're like living an unhealthy lifestyle, you're gambling with your health and your life, you know. Because I know from one of your stories, the doctor told you like if you don't change your life, you're gonna die at a young age, right?
yeah. So when I was like 17, I went to my doctor and I was like, yo, doc, why is my dick so small? And fun fact, if you're someone under the age of 18 and you're really obese and your dick's really small, it's because you eat a lot of fat and because you eat so much fat as a male, you develop more estrogen. That's why when guys are fat, they have tits. They have like fatty tits. And then and so when you're going through puberty and you're super fat, you're not going to grow a big dick, or not going to grow as big of a dick as you could. And then he's like, yeah, so be less fat, grow a big dick. And you would think that would have sparked the change, but it didn't. And then he was like, and then he was like, dude, you're going to die within the next like 6 years. And like mathematically, he wasn't wrong. I was gaining between 30 to 50 pounds a year over year over year over year for like a decade. And I'm 370 at like 16 or 17. So simple math, even at 30 pounds times six, that's 180 pounds. I'd be over 500 pounds today. 100%. 100% if I didn't change. Right. And then the question is, what would you do? I'm John Quinones. No, the question is, how many people are walking the planet that are like over 500, 600 pounds? Not many. That's why there's a fucking show, a TV show called My 600 Pound Life, because of how rare it is. Right.
Yeah, man, that's wild. I kind of realized that too. I mean, I wasn't beyond 300 pounds. I was like 285. But I really realized, like, if I keep living the same way, like fucking waking up in the morning, drinking beer and shit, like, I'm gonna fucking die at a young age. My mom had a heart attack at 31,
Holy shit.
So like, there's no doubt I would have been destined for the same thing.
I mean, I feel like genetics play a certain role, not
Yeah.
like with your case, but like my mom was super heavy when she was young. And then she just got older and stopped eating like shit. My sister was super heavy when she was young. And well, actually, my sister goes like this. She goes up and down all the time. But then also, like me, I was super fucking fat, and my cousin was super fucking fat. Not like I'm not blaming it on my fucking genetics. I'm not blaming it on my metabolism like every other person does who's like 400 pounds right now. But it does have some roles in it, right? Because there's some people that have a shitty metabolism where, like, a great example, I was 8 years old. I used to play soccer. This was before I got like super fat. And I had two friends. And after each soccer game, we would go to McDonald's. We would eat, actually, they would eat more than me. They would not gain a single fucking pound. I would gain weight. And so that, like, metabolism does have a play with it, but it's not the pivotal reason on why you can't change your metabolism. Because, like, I literally, like, I tell people this and they don't believe me. I eat more garbage and I eat more like shit now than I did when I was fat. And I eat more food now than I did when I was fat. But the reason why I'm able to get away with this is this brilliant thing called muscle. I have developed muscle on my body, so it processes the fucking shit that I'm putting into my body. And that is why when people are fat and they don't work out, they're fucking stupid. If they just go and they walk until the sun rises to the sun sets and they cut their calories in half, not only are they going to plateau and jump a massive wall, but then they're not going to be able to develop a physique, a healthy body. They're going to have more loose skin. And well, they're not going to be able to really eat what they want with ease because they have no fucking muscle, and they're going to look like shit. They're just going to look like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example. They're just going to look like the poop emoji.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. All those things really add up. I know you work with mostly men, but I work with a lot
No,
of
I work with women too.
so-
It's just easier to fucking market. And I feel like women, there's one of two ways. They're either 100% let's do it, or They give you every excuse under the sun. And I'm very blunt. So my approach is more catered to men because I could be more direct and call them out on their bullshit versus women. I tend to be more emotional, like no offense, but like it's literally world renowned. Women are more emotional than men. But I've had a client that I helped. I've had 4 women that I've helped to lose over like close to 100 pounds. One lost over 120 pounds. One lost over like 90. One lost 80. But the key is with all of them is no, wow, they fucking listened and they took action, and most of the time they didn't bitch. Yeah, and they communicated.
Yeah, exactly. So if you want to lose weight and change your life, listen to somebody who's done it, take action, and then it'll happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, dude, because like there's some people that genuinely can like do the research on their own and get some results, but is it gonna sustain long term? Probably not. Like, yes, like you can look up on YouTube some really good workouts, but do you know what to do, how to do it properly, and like is tailored or suited to you? Probably not. It's the same thing with nutrition. It's the same thing with coming up with the meal plan. Like, I'm not discounting it. I'm not fucking naive or stupid, especially with the internet and how advanced it is now. Like, coaches could technically not exist, but the reason why it does is because it gives you a guaranteed formula for success, and it takes all the guesswork out for you, right? So all you fucking have to do is listen to what the person you're paying for, and you get results, right? And then it also helps with the accountability and the communication and the community aspect, right? Like, I don't know about you, but I have a community type shit on school with all the clients, and they well, they don't really message each other because, like, well, they don't, but they just put questions up there, and there's like a forum, and then I answer them, and then yeah.
Yeah, man. No, like, community's important. School's pretty cool. We should talk about that after. Because I'm doing a thing where I want to collaborate with other coaches, so for just like a 7-day challenge. So we can talk about that. So we talked about a lot, but like, is there anything we didn't talk about? Like, let's say you're talking to your old self or somebody who comes to you that wants to lose 150 pounds. Is there any like advice you would give them that we haven't gone over yet?
Well, in-person training, I've helped like 3 kids or people that were almost my former self. It's kind of crazy, like the similarities. Like, they weren't exactly needing to lose 150 pounds, but between easily 100 or 120, and they were the same age as that I started off. One guy I'm still training now, he's down like 60 pounds. But the thing isn't necessarily a piece of advice. It's to figure out what the fuck is your why. It's the same thing I ask every single client, whether they're 16 and they need to lose 150 pounds, or whether you're 40 and you want to lose 20 for your wedding. What the fuck is your why? Why is this important to you? Because if you don't have a reason, if this isn't fucking important to you, then you're not going to do it, right? And I had this conversation with this client today that I had. I've been working with him for 6 months, and there has not been a single back to back there has not been back to back weeks where he's been consistent. His nutrition is like a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I've asked him point blank. I'm like, "Do you actually want to fucking lose weight?" And he's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Then why are you being your own worst enemy and getting in your own way of success?" Right? So if this is advice, it would literally be like, if you're actually serious and you have a deep rooted why, and it's like, I don't want to, I can't fit into clothes I want to wear. I hate the way I look in the mirror. I can't take my shirt off at the beach. Whatever the fuck that is. Think of that and actually take action on it, right? Don't just like wall up in your own bullshit and be depressed about the fact that you're a fucking fat ass and you don't take your shirt off at the beach. Do something about it, right? But that's the thing. Most people won't, right? They'll just bitch about it and bitch about it and bitch about it and make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. I could not fathom being 40 years old and 400 pounds. I could not fathom being like me. If I never lost any weight, I couldn't fathom being 400 pounds for a fucking decade. I don't know. I would have killed myself genuinely, because just how depressive it is. Right. So that's the biggest advice or motivational shit I could tell anybody, is like, just whether it's weight loss, health, it doesn't matter. Even if it's business, set a goal, figure out why the fuck it's important, and actually take action to accomplish it.
Hell yeah, brother. I agree with all of that. That's how it is. That's how you do it. That's all there is to it. No excuses, take action, and just realize that if you keep living the same way, you're gonna fucking die. Or even worse, you're gonna suffer until you die. One of those two. You're not gonna
I think
have.
that's worse. I think that's genuinely worse. Suffering
Yeah.
until you, right? Like, I mean, Yeah, like there's been a lot of people that are like 50 that I've talked to that are like 45, 50 years old. They have kids and they're sick of like, but what I can't wrap my head around, bro, is I've talked to so many men that are like 35, 40, 45, 50 that have easily 100 pounds to lose and they've been struggling for 2 decades and yet they won't pull the trigger to take action. It's like there's something like holding them back, but I don't know what the fuck is holding them back because it genuinely, and I've told them this, like if not now, then when? The only thing that's going to happen is you're going to stay the exact same thing and get more depressed and more unhealthy, or worse, you're going to get worse and die even sooner. Right. And if for some of them, when they have a fucking kid, when they have a child, when they need to like take care of that child and protect that child and be around for that child, how the fuck is that not a motivating factor? I do not understand. I do not comprehend that, but to each their own. You can only lead a horse to water. You can't force it to drink.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So for those who are listening, if you haven't led yourself to drink yet, go and do it. Go lead yourself to drink. Fucking make those changes in your life, and your life will be completely different before you know it. Yeah, brother. So like kind of getting close to the time there, so we're gonna wrap it up. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing your story and talking about this stuff. Super inspiring for me as a coach and for people listening and stuff like that as well. I will include all of your information in the show notes for your community, and if anybody wants to get connected with uh, Puffy, because even though I'm a coach too, each person's going to resonate with somebody else's approach. So if Puffy's for you, go check him out, and you can follow Puffy on Instagram, watch him get even buffier, and it'll be good.